everybody, it is Tuesday. Welcome to the CBSN Minnesota Daybreaker. I'm Jason DeRusha. Nice to be spending some time with you today. Hopefully, if your kids went back to school, whether distance or hybrid or whatever they're doing yesterday, things went all right. Now's your chance to use the internet before the little brats take up all your bandwidth, right? Here's a forecast for today. Outdoor recess. Set them outside with a binder full of papers and watch it blow all over the place. At least it'll be nice out. It's going to be a little windy. Yeah, you probably heard it in the overnight if you had your windows open like we did. By noon, it's already going to be 76. Yeah, sunny. It's going to heat up pretty fast. Average is 72. We should be 82 for a high today. Maybe even warmer depending on how things shake out. Tonight, perfect patio night, right? Go ahead and grill in the backyard. Go visit a restaurant, outdoor patio that you were hoping to check out. 75 by 8 o'clock tonight. Let's talk about Halloween because we're starting to get news about what's going to happen this fall. USA Today wrote about this, and they had a survey. They showed some survey results from the confectionery industry, who hired a firm to do a survey, and you're not going to believe it. The candy industry, most people said you got to have trick-or-treating because how could you have Halloween without candy? It is sort of a question like, do you buy your candy now? Do you wait to see if people are going to trick-or-treat? What are you going to do in this coronavirus age? Are you going to let your kids trick-or-treat? So experts seem to have different views on this. Anoka has decided that they are going to do like a drive-up parade, and they were mentioned in the USA Today article. But I wonder about the actual trick-or-treating. So tell us where your head is on this. What are your Halloween plans during COVID-19? You can leave a comment on the WCCO TV Facebook page. We'll read through a few in just a minute. I want to update you on a search for a shooter outside an Edina hospital. This happened last night. Parking ramp by M Health Fairview Southdale Hospital. Happened right around 9 o'clock. They locked down the whole area. The guy who was shot is a 45-year-old man. Police tell our Christian Cordero this morning that this started as an attempted robbery. The suspect and victim didn't know each other, but they locked this thing down till after midnight. It was about a 3-hour lockdown when it was lifted finally.
It's scary because I've never heard of anything like this happening out here in Edina. We don't have those type of issues or problems out here, so it is very new to us.
You know, you had to take extra care because you didn't know if this shooter was headed inside the hospital or what exactly was going on. The victim is, we don't know the exact condition, but the victim was at least lucid enough to share a description. So that's a good sign. Here's the description. I don't know how helpful this description is. It probably describes a lot of people, but we know the victim said it's an Asian male. He is an Asian man in his 30s, shaved hair, tattoo on the right side of his neck. And the shooter was also wearing sweatpants at the time. So if you know anything about this, even though with the perimeter and the lockdown and all this, the shooter still got away. Edina police would like to hear from you if you know anything. A young girl is in the hospital. She was skateboarding when the driver of a car hit her. Police say she's between 12 and 15 years old. She was skateboarding through this intersection, Bryant and Dowling Avenues North. Initial reports indicate that the skateboarder should have stopped at a stop sign, and so the driver was caught off guard. The driver did stop, called 911, tried to help the child. We're told she's seriously hurt. Police trying to contact her family. At last check, they didn't know the girl's name, so they want to hear from you, Minneapolis police, if you know anything. This morning, divers will keep searching a water-filled quarry in Cottage Grove. Such a sad story about this plane that crashed. They're looking for 3 people and the wreckage. Washington County investigators say a Cessna Skyhawk left Fleming Field in South St. Paul yesterday afternoon and crashed a short time later. This is right on the river. A pilot, 2 passengers on board. Monday morning, debris was found along Gray Cloud Island. Around 7:30, divers appeared to pull something out of the water.
Very sad tragedy, and you know, you're obviously concerned for the family and just kind of want to know what exactly happened.
Divers plan to continue their recovery efforts this morning. State of Minnesota sending firefighters to help battle the massive flames burning on the West Coast. It's just heartbreaking watching the devastation there. Oregon is where the Minnesotans will be going. 29 firefighters, 9 fire trucks heading out this morning. At least 10 have died in Oregon, tens of thousands forced to abandon their homes. When the firefighters get there, they'll be there for 2 weeks helping protect buildings, assess damage, and they'll be helping Oregon's local fire departments. Wow. Minnesota Health Department says it's monitoring several colleges with COVID-19 outbreaks. There are 3 schools in our state that have seen more than 100 cases of the virus in the last few weeks. Minnesota State University Mankato, Winona State, and Concordia College.
When we look at the numbers for Mankato, we're actually seeing really positive signs that those numbers are starting to come down. For Winona and Concordia, some changes were just implemented in the last week, so it's really a little too early to evaluate the impact of those stricter policies.
MDH says it's working with colleges to make sure guidelines are in place to help stop the virus from spreading. There are 200 colleges and universities in Minnesota. MDH says 65 have had at least 1 case of COVID-19. Now, we don't really know what that means, right? One person, they could have picked it up anywhere. An even smaller number with multiple cases. So that's kind of where we're at there. State Health Department is urging parents to really think about the times that they should keep their kids home from school. A couple different things to think about. The state says if anybody in Minnesota is exposed to someone with COVID-19, and exposed doesn't just mean like you spent 1 second with them, but if you live with someone who has COVID-19, you've got to stay home for at least 14 days, even if you test negative during that time frame. If a child starts to feel sick, but you're not sure whether or not they've been exposed, the state does have guidelines on when to keep kids home and how long. It's just really important, more than ever, if your kids are sick, to keep them home from in-person school. Links to all of the guidelines at WCCO.com. Cool idea by a Twin Cities teacher and some parents coming together to find a creative solution to help students keep their distance at school. Michelle Martin looking at her classroom. She's like, there's not enough room to space out students here. She teaches at Prairie Creek Community School in Northfield. So the teacher and some parents, look, they kind of came together and built custom desk and combination stool. So they can slide those things around. They take up less space. They make it easy to assemble. Really, really smart.
Be engaged in creating something new feels really great for both the kids and for the volunteers and the teachers too.
I bet every student at Prairie Creek gets a desk. They'll be doing classes outside. See how the desk becomes a stool there? That's smart. Do it. Why not? Take it outside before the weather turns in October. They plan on being indoors full time. Good news for downtown Minneapolis. It really needed kind of this jolt. A Fortune 1000 company moving into downtown Minneapolis. Deluxe Corporation. They've been based on a big campus out in Shoreview. They're moving downtown, bringing more than 530 jobs to the heart of the city. Mayor Jacob Fry says the move is emblematic of the city's momentum coming off a summer of unrest. The CEO of the business technology company did address the fears of safety.
We watched with great sadness the tragedy unfold in our community. And honestly, certainly there were voices that suggested otherwise, but our company decided to double down on our resolve to be part of the solution.
Tell you what, Deluxe was originally known as kind of a check processing company, and they have reinvented themselves as a business consulting company. Very, very smart, agile company, and having those 500 new jobs in the heart of downtown. Good news. We welcome them. We look forward to our neighbors opening their headquarters in about a year. The opening act to the Christmas season is going to be without the huge crowds and the pomp and circumstance this year. Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will be on TV only. So they're going to shoot the parade over 2 days. They'll pre-tape it, and then they don't have to pack people onto the streets of New York City during the pandemic. Cars are going to roll the balloons down the street instead of groups of handlers like this. No high school or college marching bands either. Macy's says, look, they're struggling with it. It's hard to change it, but they felt it was important to continue the tradition. A lot of nonprofits have been struggling during the pandemic. Salvation Army, no exception. So they've decided to start their Christmas bell ringing this week. Normally they start in November, but the organization hoping a head start will offset some of the financial damage the pandemic has done. Fewer people going to stores or workplaces where they normally have these Salvation Army kettles. The ongoing national hoarding of coins because people have all their coins at home. They're concerned about that. So they're worried that their collections could be cut by as much as 50%. So if you want to support the Salvation Army, make sure you do that intentionally, and all of your favorite nonprofits this time of year. Most of us don't want to be woken up in the middle of a nap, but one Massachusetts man might have felt like he was still dreaming after this sort of shocking wake-up call. Take a look at your screen and look at this video. Here's a guy with one of those Ring cameras just lounging by the pool, and he's got a visitor. That's a bear. Bear kind of checks out the pool. Kind of comes right up to the guy. Look at this. Sniffs his foot and then gives a little tap like, hey, buddy. Hey. Whoa! They both wake up. The bear freaks out, makes a run for it. The guy's like, holy. Gets his camera out, of course, as you do. Tries to get a picture. But kind of cool that it's on the Ring security camera there. Look, the bear comes back. See him? Right in the corner, behind the brush. So the guy can get his picture before the bear runs off for good. Crazy. Ever wonder what it's like to be the prince of a town called Bel Air? Yeah, Fresh Prince, baby. You can stay in the house. Is it an iconic house? I suppose. Airbnb offering this up. One night stay you can reserve if you're lucky. There are only 5 nights in October available. The listing marks the Fresh Prince of Bel Air's 30th anniversary, which makes me feel very old. Very old. Okay, let's talk about Halloween. It's the talker of the day. Halloween approaching fast. What are you doing during the pandemic? Normally, we have our digital... What are we doing? All right. I don't know what our producer's talking about. He's like, we've got comments on tag board. Here it is. In my ear, Mike Haberman, our outstanding producer, says, I've got Del 2 comments. I have no idea what that means. Kim on Delegate 2, which we punch up, and so you can see this. She's passing out. She's in. Taking the kids out. She's doing it. Thanks, Kim. Here's Deborah. Look at the fancy graphics today, huh? This is like a real TV show. Deborah's going to buy a lot of candy and eat it all herself, just like every other year. I hear you, Deborah. We already are. My wife loves the pumpkins, kind of the candy corn little pumpkins, and I think she's already eaten a bag. My wife is an absolute knockout and super skinny, so she can, if I just look at the bag, I gain 5 pounds. Paul Crutchin, big candy bars for the kids and cans of beer for the parents who walk them around. Yeah, I remember the one Halloween I was walking around my kids with a drink that my neighbor made for me called the Zombie, which it turns out there's a good reason they call it the Zombie, because later that evening, I was sleeping in my clothes. Brittany LaFond likes the idea of sitting in front of my house and just chucking candy towards children to keep the 6 feet of distance. Oh, Brittany, that is brilliant. That's what, you've done it. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up a station where kids can walk up to 6 feet away, and then we'll throw it. And I'll have plenty of beer to make that even more fun. I love this. I love it. I hope we can have Halloween. You're outside. To me, it seems all right, but we'll see how we're doing with COVID when late October comes up, right? Thanks for watching the Daybreaker, everybody, from CBSN Minnesota. We're so glad to have you trusting us and hanging out here to be your digital news source to jumpstart your day. Have a great day. We'll see you back here same time tomorrow.